Okay, so we're back with video number 3 of the Strixhaven Teaser Bingo. Let's get into it. Not only is it preview season for Strixhaven, it is also preview season for summer in the UK. We've got a nice little heat wave. It is currently 23 degrees outside, so yay, which is why I'm wearing this lovely tank top. And yeah, just I wanted to talk about the weather. So yesterday, or whenever that last video went up and however long it takes me to edit this one, fuck knows, I was like, yeah, I think I've got everything. And then I recorded another bit because I missed a creature. Well, guess what? I actually missed 2. Let's talk about the creature that I missed and the bingo card that it ticks off. So, Shadricks Silverquill is a 5 mana value white and black legendary elder dragon for 3 generic mana, 1 white mana and 1 black mana, with flying, double strike, 2 power, 5 toughness, and the ability at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. As you may be able to tell, that ticks off the bingo slot. Each mode must target a different player. So I just fucked up there. Like, the Elder Dragons have been spoiled for a few days. Can't believe I completely missed it. It's just, there was a lot of cards that came out, a lot of stuff got spoiled. So just, slipped through the cracks. My bad, but okay. So first thing I just want to talk about with Shadricks Silverquill, the Elder Dragon, the new Silverquill Elder Dragon, is the art that I showcased with this card. I mean, oh, look at that! It's beautiful. Second of all, I want to talk about the tokens he makes. He makes Inklings. So I'm gonna make Splatoon jokes about that whenever I cast or face him. But now let's actually talk about the card. So 5 mana for a 2/5 doesn't seem great, but remember it does have evasion and it does have double strike, so it's actually more like a 5 mana 4/5, which isn't bad. So a 5 mana 2/5 with double strike isn't actually as bad as it seems when you're looking at the stat line. The thing with this card is going to be like making sure you can actually like disbalance those two modes that you choose from every pre-combat. So obviously you don't really want to be making a blocker for your dude to be pounding in, but if you really need to be drawing cards, I can see that being the best thing instead of like pumping up your opponent's creatures. So just give them a 2/1 and swing in. Either they're going to chump block with the 2/1, which means you haven't done any damage, but you've drawn yourself a card, or like it's just a 2/1. You're still getting in with twice as much damage on that. The mode that I see myself doing most often would probably be like making sure the board is like wiped. So it's just, maybe I've got a creature or 2, including Shadricks, and the opponent has like nothing, and then targeting them with a +1/+1 counters mode. I think that's probably going to be the best way to break that symmetry that you have to be like, give and take. I take all your board and I give you +1/+1 counters for all your creatures that you don't have. I can see this being like maybe a control finisher in standard. Obviously in Commander it gets really interesting because you've got the politics of being able to go like, here, have a creature. I'm going to draw a card and beat the other guy up for 4. Or like, do you want to get your board big? Have some +1/+1 counters. It's gonna actually like persuade. It's going to be really open up the dialogue for good politics in Commander, which I always think is fun. So next on the list of things that we tick off on our bingo card today is the legendary artifact creature construct. So let's bring up the card and have a look. Cody, Vociferous Codex, is a legendary artifact creature construct with 1 power, 4 toughness, for 3 generic mana. It has the rules text, you can't cast permanent spells, and also has an ability for 4 generic mana and tap. Add white, blue, black, red, and green mana. When you cast your next spell this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile an instant or sorcery card with lesser mana value. Until end of turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost.
Put each other card exiled this way on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Now, Cody is, first of all, a really stupid name for a legendary creature. It's right up there with the Siren's name from Commander Legends, who was, at least in the story, as Vasca's first mate in Ixalan. So, you know, I kind of gave him a pass, although like it does seem kind of boring to be like, oh, look at Shadricks Silverquill, Nicol Bolas, and Cody. But yeah, like we're just getting bogged down in name conventions here. I don't really actually care too much. At least it sounds more like a nickname instead of just a guy you meet at a pub. So I'm good to go with that. Moving on to the actual card. I don't really see this taking off in the same way that 5-color colorless cards like Ramos and Golos have in Commander and in Standard and other formats that Golos is legal in. Just because like it seems fair, so I like it. But honestly, I think it's a good card. Like the activated ability obviously ramps and color fixes you, and also gives your spells cascade for just instants and sorceries, which I think is a nice balance. Obviously, in a limited format, that's going to mesh well with Magecraft. It looks like it's going to be fun. I think it'll probably be an easy include in like 5-color Spellslinger decks. But as like maybe what part of the 99 in Commander, I just don't really see it making too much of an impact outside of Standard, where I reckon it'll be maybe a 1 or 2 of. And you know, like probably won't even go into 5-color decks. You're just like, yeah, so here is a creature that next turn will mean that I get to cast 2 spells. So yeah, I rate it. Like it's a cool card, it's a cool design, but like I don't think it's going to be very exciting. So obviously it's not going to knock any of the completely unfair commanders that care about multicolored spells from the command zone. Like it's definitely going to go into those decks. Like I can imagine it slotting quite nicely into a Lucky Charms deck, or being put into the 5-color Niv Mizzet deck. Like just, you know, you want to cast a Boros Charm and an Azorius Charm this turn? Sure, there you go. No, you can't do that because it didn't have the right mana. But you know, so I like it. I think it's good. I don't really have anything else to say apart from the fact that it's crossed off another one of my things. So on to the next one. So the next on the bingo card is whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes an ability to trigger, which is lovely and wordy, but basically triggers. That is on Strict Proctor, which is...
Strict Proctor is a 2-mana value Spirit Cleric creature for 1 generic and 1 white, with 1 power, 3 toughness, and flying. It has the ability, whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2.
Yeah, so it's a hate bear. Hate bears are cool. I like hate bears. I've got a list for sort of like this Orzhov modular deck, part of which is hate bears, part of which is like an aggro deck that I've sort of like been sort of assembling for a long time, which is nowhere near ready because cards cost money and I've got better things to do with my money right now, like pay rent and buy food. So that's been on like the back burner for a while, but you know, it's almost there, and I now need to cut another card because this is a cool hate bear ability. I think the you know, taxing effect of it is great. Like that's something that white should have more of. Yes, I do like the Staxy type stuff. It's white's color pie. I like it, but also like it seems fairer. You know, it's one thing being like, ha, you can't search your library, or ha, you can only play 1 spell a turn, which is, you know, it's a thing. But I also like being like, you can do what you want. Like, you know, you can have your triggers. You just got to pay for them. You know, cough up, draw a card, give me some coin. So yeah, I like the balance that sort of white has, where you can sort of add these like pay 2, pay 1 effects, which is why like Ristic Study fits much more into white's color pie in my opinion. But you know, we're sort of slaying down many roads that have been very well travelled. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. Like, it's a good body with a good effect. But honestly, Vince Pleasant Kenobi on the internet spoiled this card, which honestly I think you should just go watch if you want opinions on. Really cool creator, obviously much better knowledge than I am, and has real thoughts and real opinions instead of an idiot talking at a phone in their bedroom kind of opinions. So yeah, go watch that instead. I'll link it down below. YouTubers are cool. Watch YouTubers. And finally, on our bingo card today, we have got the phrase that I really should have actually written down because it's a real person's name and I wanted to practice reading it, but forgot. So, yeah, it's the card bearing the likeness of the most recent world's winner. He's got a long name that I'll get a robot to say now.
Paulo Vitor Damo da Roça.
Thank you, robot. Yeah, so yeah, it's another hate bear. And also, ding, 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 we have got a full line, which means bingo is over. Let's talk about the card.
Elite Spellbinder is a 3 mana value human cleric for 2 generic and 1 white, with flying, 3 power and 1 toughness. When Elite Spellbinder enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast this way costs 2 generic more mana to cast.
So yeah, Elite Spellbinder. I like it. It's a different fair way of disrupting hands. Like this is also going to go into my hate bear list when I inevitably like put it all together, and I might want to play around with it in standard as well. I think there might be a nice like white black hate bearsy type deck maybe in the works. So the ability to take a spell out of an opponent's hand and sort of like keep it away from them for a few turns, like that seems really cool. However, I feel like it might be a little bit overshadowed by the fact that we still have adventures in the format and we also have foretell in the format. So you know, like, it could go well. I also like, you know, lessons kind of bring cards in from outside the game. So like it seems like a really good effect. It just seems like it's sort of been positioned in the worst point for it to be in standard, where there's lots of different ways of getting around the effect. So yeah, like it's a good card. It's a good body. A 3/1 flyer for 2 or 3, whatever it is, isn't anything to sniff at. It's definitely gonna like end games as an evasive threat if you can keep the board clear, and you know, like stopping a board wipe like a Shatter the Sky. That's the standard, right? Shatter the Sky. Yeah, that came out in Theros. Yeah, like a Shatter the Sky. Like stopping it from coming down at 4 instead of like, and then making it come down at 6 instead, or like just taking out like a blocker that could have been cast the next turn, or a threat or something like that. I just think it's like a good tempo swing. I think it's a really interesting card, and I'm glad that the likeness bearing cards, first one that we saw like be reintroduced in Eldraine, is still beating my arse in Arena. So yeah, I'm glad they seem to be continuing the trend of making these cards good, which is nice. Instead of just instead of just being like, yeah, so you get to go on a draft comment. But yeah, I believe that's all of the cards that got spoiled that cover my bingo list today. So yeah, much shorter one, thankfully. Now I get to sit and edit this in the sun, which is totally what I'm going to do. So bye.
Game over. For the dream.